this one. I don't know if it's because you're really tired from the con or if you're like really serious about anime figure collecting.
Are you guys here because you want to collect your plastic waifu?
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah. So as you know by the title, this is more of like an introduction to anime figure collecting. So it's just general terms, and I know figure collecting can be sometimes kind of overwhelming. So we hope by the end of this little session that you'll be more confident and you'll really want to collect all of them. So yeah.
Gotta collect them all. Alright. So, quick introduction, I'm Mia. And what's your name?
And I'm Jessica. Oh no, I'm stalking.
Yeah, whatever. And we're Go Figure. We're a YouTube channel where we unbox, we review figures. Sometimes we sing songs, sometimes we open boxes with our feet. It's really weird. Anyway.
You should check us out.
Yeah, you should. It's a good time. I've been collecting anime figures about 5 years now, and I don't know. It's cool, it's the bomb. My wallet cries every day because of it. And I really like figures of magical girls and really small girls with giant ass weapons, so that's my thing. What about you, Jessica?
I've been collecting figures for over 2 years, so I'm a bit of a late bloomer compared to Mia. I love to collect very sexy women. I love Sonico, she's like the best, so yeah. I did cosplay her like Friday, so I am not lying, so yeah. Yeah, so I mean I have a pretty much extensive collection for 2 years. My wallet also cries a lot, so yeah.
Got some pictures here for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so we're just going to go over what we're going to cover today. It's a lot to do, we only have about 40 minutes to do it, but we're going to try to get through all of it. What are we covering?
Okay, so we're going to cover some terms, because there's some terms you gotta know before you start collecting. What are they made of? Why the cost? Because as you all know, some of them are really expensive. Companies, it's really important to know the companies before you buy. So we want to tell you why, where to buy them, the maintenance, selling your figure, Wonder Festival, and recommendations, and of course, questions if you have some.
Alright, so we're going to get right into terms. I almost spilled my water, that would have been really bad. Okay. So, I guess the most important term in figure collecting would be scale. When we talk about scale figures, we're talking about figures that are like generally the most expensive ones. They're what most companies make, and scale itself is a term referring to the size of a figure, i.e. if this character were real, it would be a 1/1 scale.
So like this one here.
Yeah, so a 1/8 scale of a figure is like that character, but 1/8 of its size. So 1/8 scales are the most common, and but you know, you can get like 1/4 scales, and they're pretty big and stuff like that. So that's a pretty basic, pretty important term.
And also, when you're gonna, let's say you go on a website and you see like the name of the figure, let's say it's a Sonico, and you're gonna see like Super Sonico 1/8 scale, that's when you know the size of it. So yeah. As for price figures, since this is a new collector panel, that's why we want to talk about this. It's something that's actually really good for starters. Price figures are figures that are like about $15 to $40. They're kind of, they're not like as good like in quality as a 100 word figure, which we call scale figures. So here I just have a figure. We see here some headphones. This is a price figure, and you see that the paint job is not as good as, let's say, this one, which is the value is about $100. So you see a difference. But as I started with price figures, and I think
you love them so much.
Yeah, I love them. I still collect them. So I mean, I think it's a great way to start. And also, when you start, you don't really notice the fine details yet, and it's just a really good place to start.
It's worth noting that prize figures are literally figures that you get as a prize when you're like in an arcade in Japan. So they're given away for free,
yeah,
basically.
But, I mean, they're all rigged.
Just like a pretty fucking good prize. Oh, sorry, I said I wasn't going to swear in this panel. Okay. Okay. Our next term is opposable figures. So it's exactly what it sounds like. They're figures that they have joints. You can pose them, sometimes change their faces and stuff. And there's a lot of different kinds of posable figures, but the two most important that we're going to cover today are Nendroids and Figmas. What's a Nendroid? It's basically a kind of a chibi-fied figure. So they have joints, they have interchangeable faces, and they come with different parts. And what's really fun about Nendroids is that you can basically just like mix the parts up between figures and create this one chibi figure that's like got like Saitama's head, but then like fucking Madoka Magica's body. It's really
It's really great to take pictures of.
yeah, it's pretty fun for that, and they're relatively affordable, which is great. And yeah,
They range about, let's say, $35 to $50 maybe. Yeah. This item on Android was like 45. It was kind of
it's got like
expensive
2
though.
parts, so it's not a great
Yeah.
Android. Anyhow,
So also you can, so as we said, there's a lot of posable figures, but we chose those two because they're the main like popular figures right now. And also if you're just starting, maybe that's the ones you might be more interested. So Figmas are very popular also. Those are, they're kind of like 1/10 scale figures, like they're kind of
like
small.
not that big.
And you can also interchange parts and all this. You can make them do their favorite poses. It's pretty awesome for that. One other thing, you can like interchange faces and all, but it's not like the Nendroid where you can like take faces from another Figma and put it on. Sometimes you might be lucky and you can do that, but they're not necessarily made for that. So that's what is different from the Nendo. So yeah. If you guys have questions, you can raise your hand or just.
We're taking questions at the end, but you can interrupt us.
Yeah,
we
it's
won't
fine.
hate you for it. Our next term is garage kits. So we're not going to talk about them too much because they're not as popular or as common, but garage kits are basically figures that are sold that are unpainted and they come in parts and you essentially, you build it and you paint it yourself. So they're very unique and you can basically have like a one-of-a-kind garage kit. Once in a while a company will pick up a garage kit if it's really popular and they'll mass produce it. I can't think of any examples on the top of my head, but they're out there. And next up we have bootlegs. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. They exist, they're real. Maybe in the dealer's room right now.
Actually, I didn't see some that much.
Didn't you?
I don't think I saw some.
Okay, well never mind. But always be careful. Bootlegs are real, and
Yeah.
they're out to get you. And they don't look as good as real figures. I mean, companies can like copy sculpts, so basically it's like the shape of the figure, it's gonna look pretty much exactly the same, so you'll be like, oh, that looks legit. But then you look at the paint, and it's not as nice, and you feel cheated. So watch out.
And also, if you want a little trick to maybe, if you want to buy a figure and you're not sure it's a bootleg, also always check for a little sticker of authenticity. Those are usually in the corner of the box somewhere, and they're kind of holographic, so they're really hard to just reproduce. So you can always check online for the sticker of authenticity of a figure, just to make sure you're really buying the good figure. And also, bootlegs, like if you go on a website that the figure is cheaper, just be careful because they might put the picture of the actual figure, but then when you receive it, you're gonna get a really bad, ugly figure. So yeah.
Pro tip, eBay does this. Be careful.
Yeah. So for cast-off, as a Sonico collector, I have a lot of cast-off. Those are the ones that you can take their clothes off. So yeah, this you can have, mostly cast-off comes with only the top that you can remove, but you can also sometimes, like this figure right here, that she can kind of naked. It's not my style. I don't really display them like that, but maybe some of you guys are here because
You can be
maybe
into it.
want
It's
to.
okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Don't be shy.
Those, just one, maybe a tip. One thing is cast-offable figures. Sometimes they're really hard to, undress because they're kind of made out of this plastic and you don't want to ruin them. So
You gotta like work for it, you know.
Yeah, you gotta work for it.
Sorry. All right, so we're almost done terms, but our next one is, oh yeah, what's up?
So the question was, if you're going on eBay and the seller is selling from Japan, is that legit?
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like with eBay, it's always a mixed bag. You really never know.
Personally, if I was to buy on eBay, I'm pretty sure there are some legit sellers, and you'd have to check like the eBay seller in particular and like see their stars and how long have they been there, and more stuff like you would do for other things. But I still don't buy from eBay except for price figures. But I mean, I'm sure there are some.
And there's such a large selection of websites that you can use to get legit figures. Like there's so many resources out there. Like you don't necessarily have a reason to use eBay. Like we'll give you some recommendations after of some good sites you should check out. But yeah, I'm sure there's legit sellers out there. Just I wouldn't take the risk personally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he says that yes, they could be based in Japan, but they can still ship from.
So just don't. I don't know. Don't take the chance. Don't take the chance. That's what I say.
I've collected a lot of figures in general. I'd say it's advisable to not use eBay at all if possible. Like if you cannot find the figure anywhere else, like there are other places where you can find used figures. Like Ami sells used figures, and you can find them on Rakuten and Mandarake.
Yeah.
So it's like eBay is really like your last resource.
Yeah.
If there's one thing y'all should walk away from today from this panel, it's that you know not to use eBay. Number one tip.
Also, I mean, you can check the seller and it can be amazing, but if the price
don't
is
come
like,
crying to us when you get it and it's not a real figure. We'll be like, yo, we told you.
If the price is like 50% of what it should be, don't get it.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so.
All right, so prototypes. When companies first design a figure, they'll show you a prototype, and often they're unpainted, so it's like the first design of a figure when it's announced. One important thing about prototypes is that when you do end up buying the figure and you get it, it may not look exactly like it did in the prototype. So sometimes the sculpt will differ slightly, the paint job might differ, not like dramatically, like this has happened to me before, and it's not to the point where I've been like, this is not what I ordered, but like sometimes it happens. So just keep that in mind with prototypes. It's just to show off like the announcement that this figure is being made, and it may not end up being exactly that.
Yeah, it's like there's a misconception about when you buy a figure on pre-order, the picture that they show is still a prototype. So even though you buy it and you think it's going to be exactly the same, sometimes the face is a bit different and the color might change a bit, but it's usually very similar, and the base can be totally different.
You don't see the base of a figure until it comes out, and sometimes it's super freaking disappointing.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's another story.
So when you buy a figure on pre-order, which nowadays figures are mostly you have to buy them on pre-order and then you receive a payment after usually, but some websites they vary, they want you to pay during pre-order. So yeah, it's just a common thing that we do nowadays. We just have to buy it on pre-order and then you receive it. So it's weird because you have to buy a figure without really knowing what it looks like. So for exclusives, just a quick note about that. Those are figures that are kind of more rare to find on normal websites that you would actually buy your figures from. Those figures usually are exclusive. They're just going to show up in a few websites, and what's important to note is that if you want this figure, it's better that you buy it kind of in pre-order. Sometimes those figures, I say sometimes, those figures tend to rise in price really fast after they go out. But it happens that sometimes it doesn't. It's always a hit or miss with figures.
I'd say 9 times out of 10 an exclusive figure will go up in price. But yeah, you're right.
And also if it's from a popular character, you're almost assured it's going to go up in price. So what are they made out of? This is just fun facts. So figures nowadays are mostly made out of PVC, and I'm not going to pronounce this word. And also they are, so PVC mainly is a plastic that's more malleable and can kind of bend. So if, let's say, it falls, it's maybe not going to break. So that's a good thing about it. But the thing about this plastic is that it's malleable. So after time, it might start to lean, it might start to bend. So nowadays, figures, mostly the base and the legs are made out of ABS, which is another material that's a bit more resistant. So it's going to be able to support the weight of the PVC. So nowadays figures, they might not lean as much. And it's also important to know that if you're going to buy a figure that's like older than 2007, that's when they were kind of entirely made out of PVC. So you might have a leaner, we call them. So figures that in time will just lean because of the PVC is like
Do you have any like trick to?
We're getting to
We're
that.
gonna
That's
get
part
to
of the
that.
presentation.
Go ahead.
Usually when you want to buy castable figures, you better use a PVC. It's less likely to break when you're trying to cast
Yeah.
stuff, but you have to be careful because it sounds being job will stick to the other side. You have to
Oh, okay.
So you really have to be careful with PVC. You know, as I said, ABS, because if you force something, it might break.
Good to know.
He says that usually clothes should be made out of PVC because, as you know, it's a plastic that's more malleable. If the clothes of a cast-offable figure is made out of ABS, then that's maybe why the figure is so hard to, take their clothes off if you want to do this. Yeah. And also, he said that, and which is true also, when figures are cast-offable and you don't necessarily want to, take their clothes off, the paint of those figures, sometimes they kind of transfer onto the skin of the figure, so it's important to sometimes cast them off. So yeah.
You just have to show the titties, you know?
Yeah.
Have to.
So for cold cast, which is, I'm not sure why I put it there. I should have taken off, but I've never really seen a figure made out of cold cast, but it's this very hard material, and some anime figures are made of that, but I have rarely seen some. Polystone and resin are other type of material that figures are made out of, and those materials are extremely fragile. So let's say God forbid it falls, it's gonna break.
You're screwed, buddy.
Yeah, you're screwed. So those figures are, if they come in the mail, they're very heavy figures and they need extra protection. So they're gonna cost you a lot of money for shipping. So just if you ever want to buy this figure, just be careful. And also, there's always a risk that the figure comes broken, and which is always written on the site. Like they say to you that sometimes it's just gonna arrive broken, but it's still a beautiful figure. It's
Those
a
ones are
different
not as
material.
common though.
Yeah,
It's really more about
but
the PVC.
I see some, and I see a lot of 1/4 figure made out of those materials, mostly polystone. So they're big figures.
Why that price though? Why are they so expensive? Maybe you're wondering this. Well, I just knocked over my water. God. Alright. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why figures are so expensive. They're not mass produced, first off. They don't make a lot, which is why over time, once a figure has been released, the price can go up because they're not, still making them. It's that's it, buddy. Also, there's a high level of craftsmanship that goes into this. It's small teams of people that really are hand painting these things. Often they can use 3D printing to make certain parts of figures, so yes, machines are involved to a certain degree, but a lot of it has to do with actual physical people making these things for you, so
And those are highly skilled individuals.
Oh yeah,
so
it's
they
detailed
are
work.
Expensive.
Yeah, obviously you have to factor in the cost of the materials, and finally, figure companies, if they want to be taken seriously. What's going on out there? I don't even know. But figure companies, if they want to be taken seriously, they have to have a good level of quality control. And by that I mean, you don't want to get a figure in the mail and it has a splotch of paint on her cheek or something. These figures really are they're trying to make them all more or less identical, all good quality, no flaws, stuff like that. So I'm sure during the process of making figures, a lot of parts do get thrown out because they're just not making the cut. So yeah.
So that's actually very expensive because you got to remake that figure, or not that figure, but that part, because after that they're usually glued together. So yeah.
That's why you're spending those big bucks.
So now, figure companies, why should you care? Well, first off, because of quality control, a lot of the companies out there, they're going to make their prices really high, and they're not going to actually have a good quality control. So you might actually receive a figure that has a lot of paint job, that blotchy paint everywhere. So you want to be careful of which company you buy from. So here this is kind of our list, it's not the list, but we just put, I'm just gonna, here. So if you can take a screenshot or something of this, because that's gonna help you out as a new collector, because you wanna have a good figure, right? So there's over 100 companies out there, but those are the top ones. I can just tell you quickly, GSC, which stands for Good Smile Company, we believe they are the top company out there. They make so many figures, and all of their figures are pretty much flawless. Go ahead.
What about the pop company? I see a lot of the exhibition pop.
Oh, Funko?
I don't know what's the name of the.
Definitely, it's like a different style of figure altogether, like for sure.
We're mainly focusing here today on Japanese companies.
Yeah.
So first, Good Smile Company is, as we were saying, the leader here because they are so big. They have a lot of figures coming out every so often, and their figures are amazing.
They're here. What? They're here. They're in the dealer's room.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah. They're the one with the glasses.
Yeah, you should
around
check
the
them
figures. They just came out with this new like Sakura figure, which is amazing. It's so nice. And then there's Alter, which is actually our favorite company because this one is the one that all our figures we received are flawless. They have no defects, and we both have some, so we know what we're talking about. It's amazing. You might know Kotobukiya, which they make like DC and Marvel. If you saw those figures in the dealer's room, they're made from this company. And I just want to quickly go over Banpresto, Sega, and Furyu. Those are 3 separate companies, but they're all prize figure companies, and we believe they're the best companies for that. Which is, for you guys, it's a good leeway into figure collecting. Banpresto is our favorite, but Sega is amazing too, and Furyu also. They're amazing.
There's a lot of them downstairs in the dealer's room, I noticed them.
And for you guys out there that are into like the cast off Rocket Seed.
That's so perfect. All right, so you got your figures. Now you want to take care of them. How are you going to do that? Well, sit down. You're already sitting down. I'll tell you. So, figures are super sensitive to heat and to sunlight, and generally because PVC is very sensitive to extreme temperatures. So you're going to want to keep your figures ideally in room temperature.
If they are in a warmer climate, they will bend faster.
Yeah, they will bend faster,
be careful.
For sure. If you can, try to keep your figures in a case, like in a display case, or just dust them super often because dust can stick to figures over time. Then it's like super hard to get off, and then you're talking about like wiping it off with water and stuff like that, and that's never fun.
I even tried makeup remover on them.
Did you really? That doesn't seem like a good idea.
I know, but I tried.
Don't
it
listen
really
to
doesn't
this
come off,
chick.
so just be careful.
Yikes. Okay. Just dust your figures, seriously. Do it. Do it. It sucks. It's super long, especially if you have a lot of them and you're like, I just spent 3 hours dusting my figures. Do it. All right. Also, some of you guys out there in the whole figure collecting are really all about keeping figures in their boxes to up their value. That's totally okay. You can do that, but ideally you want to let your figures out at least once a month, just for a few hours to let them breathe, because you.
That happened to me this month.
There you go, buddy. Because they can get like kind of like this greasy, like oily film on them. Like they want to breathe. So keep it in the box. Do it. Whatevs. I'm not judging you, but take it out once in a while.
They're not made for staying in an enclosed thing, but I know a lot of people will leave them in the box, and it's totally fine. You do whatever you want. We're just saying that.
It's all about the resale value, which we'll get to. But yeah.
Does compressed air work for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Ultra Duster right there.
I've been meaning to buy one of those.
Yeah, I need to buy. I actually don't have one.
That'd be so awesome.
It work like if the dust is fresh, but not if you don't like.
Which you won't have a problem if you dust your figures
Yeah.
once
you
every
have to
2
do-
weeks.
You have to do it like often because
Yeah.
this doesn't work after like a week or so.
Because the
Yeah.
problem
I
is
feel
that
like when you do this, though, that it just goes in the air, and then just the next day it just
Settles.
falls back right.
Well-
I don't know.
because you gotta have air circulation in this room when you're dusting out. The problem is with air dusters is that it's like what $5-10 a can, so it can get expensive to dust it. Like,
So that's expensive.
You're collecting figures. You're already spending money. Like,
yeah, that's why I don't have.
don't
money.
talk to me about a $5
That is why you don't have money when you buy figures.
Okay.
And so often there are some smaller compressors that are a bit about the same force and does enough. But
All right.
$70.
Oh,
So
7 bucks.
technically, for about 10 bottles,
Mhm.
you will have a compressor that lasts much.
All right.
That's
I mean, we personally we use makeup brushes to dust our figures.
That
It
are
works
not
fine.
used for makeup, obviously.
No. It's gonna blush it. All right, yeah. So
Oh no, that was my makeup blush. Oh no.
I would never do that to you, Jess.
Also, this is just we love this room. It's like kind of a dream room right there. This is just to show you like a good figure display room where everything's enclosed, and then this here the blinds are kind of closed, so it's not directly in sunlight. It's just to tell you.
These figures are your babies. Treat them like
Yeah.
that, okay?
And then you can sit in here, and then you can just look
Okay,
at
Jess,
them.
next slide.
Okay.
Calm down.
Okay,
My
so-
figure's a leader, what do I do?
Well, we got you covered here. So here is a blow dry. Well, here, this is a really big leaner. Oh my god. I would not want to have that. Okay. So this here is a blow dryer. So what do? So usually leaners are made out of PVC, so it's going to be easy to bend them back if you use heat. So here is
blow dryer.
Blow dryer, yeah. So you blow dry the area in question, and then you bend it back after, and then you put it right away in like cold water. You can just dump it in some, well, maybe not dump it, put it gently in
Dump it.
in some really cold water, and then let it stay so it just goes back, and then everything's good for another like 2 years or
Basically
3.
like grade 7 science class, like heat, cold, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, good luck with that though. I think I've never really done it.
I've never had to do it, because as we were talking about, like, figures these days don't tend to lean as much, it's less of a problem, but if it does happen,
Yeah.
it's what you do.
Okay, so where to buy them? I think again this is one of those screenshots where you should take a picture of this, because here we've got all the website we use for pre-orders, and here are all the websites for pre-owned. And yeah, you might want to take a...
If you want to see our PowerPoint after the presentation, you're more than
Yeah.
welcome to. Come talk to us, it's
You
fine.
can just raise your hand if we're going
Yeah,
too
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Also, so just I can just talk to you quickly. The pre-orders, as I said before, somewhat you gotta familiarize yourself with some of the website, because they all kind of do their things differently. So AmiAmi will tell you to pay for your pre-orders when they actually are released. As for Big in Japan, it depends. They'll maybe ask you for the money right away. And sometimes I'm like, no, and I don't pay, and I just go for AmiAmi just because of that. Yeah, it depends. Big in Japan can also say like pay, it's only for, you can only pay when it's gonna be released, which is like, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's also a good idea to check out AmiAmi first, because they often have sales compared to other shops. It's like
That is true.
Actually,
50
Nipponya-san has some great sales also. You can check that out too. And so yeah, he says that AmiAmi has some great sales also, which is, it's the best website. Seriously, AmiAmi is so good. Go ahead.
They don't cancel things.
Okay, here's the thing with AmiAmi, you order it and then they'll be like, pay for it. I'm just like, I'm ignoring that email. And they've never bothered me about it.
They try to cancel it like it's coming.
Yeah, no, don't ever ask AmiAmi to cancel something. They'll be like, I don't like you, don't do it. Just give them the cold shoulder, ghost them. Just be like, I don't want to pay for it, it's fine.
If you don't
Trust
say
me.
anything, they'll just say, I cancel like 3
Yeah,
or 4
it's
of
totally
them by
fine.
not email, and they never
Don't do it with a lot of figures
But
though. 'Cause
try-
then they'll come after you.
Try not to cancel any figures, but I think we've all
I've
been
done
there.
it. I've done it. I
But
don't care.
AmiAmi is like, it's gonna tell you, if you cancel a lot of figures, we're gonna shut down your account and you can't do it. So you do have to pay the figures, but you know, sometimes it just happens. And
We need to be faster.
Okay,
We're
good.
30 minutes in this presentation.
Okay, good. So yeah, just AmiAmi, great site, so good. Also, it has a lot of so good pre-owned. There's a lot of pre-owned figures from there, and also, I just want to tell you, Mandarake and Jungle are only pre-owned figures, and they have amazing deals sometimes. So you should check that often if you're looking for the specific figure. So yeah, they have it there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Also.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna speed through this one. Right, you got your figure, now you hate it. You wanna sell it. Well, that's fine. If you wanna sell your figure, you're gonna wanna have the box. I'm sorry, it takes up a lot of room, but seriously, if you don't have your box, the resale value is gonna suck. The other thing is, when you buy a figure, you might be thinking, oh, in a few years, this is gonna be worth more money and I'll make money off of it. Not necessarily. It's really hit or miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes figure values can drop, like, extremely so. Like, I remember I had this like Madoka Magica figure that when it was first released, it was like retailed for like 95, and now you can get on AmiAmi for like 38. So it happens. So don't think you're buying a figure as an investment necessarily. The value may go down significantly. But yeah, so if you do want to sell it, the most important thing we can say is keep the box. Otherwise, you're going to be selling it for way less, which no one wants to do. And yeah.
Also, if you want to know how much the retail price value is at, I think that Well, you can check out this website called MFC, or just any other figure website, and you can just try to gauge how much you should, sell it for. So now, Wonder Festival.
Yeah, Wonder Festival.
The most amazing festival of the year
It's
for
like
us.
Christmas and Hanukkah and birthdays all at once, twice a year.
It's amazing, and it comes twice a year. So I mean,
Someone's
there's
gonna-
nothing that beats that. So this
Fucking
is
awesome.
it's a festival
Sorry.
it's a festival that arrives that comes in February and August. So we just got one right there. So those are like new figures that are gonna come out.
Oh my
It's
god,
amazing.
these Love Live figures, guys, they're like, that's all I gotta say.
This one right here. Okay, so this is a festival that you can kind of, it's just where companies come together and they just showcase all the figures that are going to come out. Those are all prototypes.
It's like E3, but for anime figures,
Yeah.
honestly.
And,
Yeah.
and the figure community online goes like crazy and we just go on rampage and just
They
talk.
were like, did you see the new figures? Yeah, man, I did. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally
So
it.
it's really amazing. Check it out. If you want more information on Wonder Festival, you can go check out this Holy Grail website, MFC, which is also referred to My Figure Collection. This is a website that you have, well, if you want to be really into figure collecting, I suggest you take a look and familiarize yourself with this website. This is kind of, I don't know.
It's like a database,
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
forum, it's everything in one.
So let's say you want to find this Homura figure. You just go on this website, you type in her name, and then you'll see all the figures that are out from all the companies out there. So if there's a figure that interests you and you didn't know that it existed, well, that's the best place to go, just to find out new figures that you love and stuff like that. Go ahead.
I go on his site web and they have like the price, manufacturer price, but there's sometimes it's like 6 times the price of the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because MFC will show you the original retail price of the figure. So if it's like an old figure, it might show you like, I don't know, like $90.
Here's actually a web page of a figure right now, Shiro, and that's the retail price right there. And oh, actually no, it's here. So you get a lot of information. You get the scale, you get what company made it, when it came out, right here. And then you get a lot of pictures from the figure, so you really can kind of guess if you really want to have that figure. You can see it there. It's an amazing website.
And people will often sell their figures on this website as well.
Yeah, that's
So
a good place also to sell your figure. Not eBay, go on MFC, and also
every other website we recommend.
also use PayPal if you're gonna
We have to-
do some transaction. Okay, so yeah, MFC.
We're just gonna wrap this up real quick. So we just have a few suggestions for you guys. I don't know, pointers. What are the first two?
Oh, so I got, as I said, MFC account. You have to, if you want to be a big figure collector, or if you want the best figure for yourself, just go on MFC, create an account. It's a really great website also to know other people, because you can like friend other people and you can create a blog, and then a lot of people are gonna write back. It's a very active website. Also, think twice. When you start off, you kind of want as much figures as you can. So you kind of just are you're gonna buy all the figures from your favorite anime, and you think it's great. But sometimes it's better to go slowly and just think about it, because those things are expensive, and also you will see them for so long. So after a year, I mean, I've done it. After a year, when I've looked at a figure that I'm not too fond of, it kind of bothers me, and I sell it for cheaper. So it's better that you Yeah, it's better that you think twice. And also, cheaper does not equal better. If there's a figure that you really like about this character, but there's this one that's a bit cheaper and it's same character, maybe it's in the long run you'll actually spend more money, because you'll maybe want to have that one, and you'll always be kind of like, oh, I really want that one. And as you get into figure collecting, you'll always want to, it's sad, but you'll always want to have better and better and have better quality. So obviously, if you like that one a lot, you'll probably end up getting it in the future. So I recommend just wait a bit and then get it, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think there's like this misconception that figure collecting as a hobby is like really elitist, and it's for people with like a lot of money, like those rich kids, and like it's not necessarily true. Like literally, I work a retail job and I am a figure collector. It's just a matter of moderation and taking your time, like Jess said, and it really doesn't have to be for people with money. And finally, get involved. again, I think there's a misconception that collecting anime figures is for really sad people in their basements. No, I've made so many friends collecting figures, and it's thebomb.com. And
You know, I've heard about those two girls like on the internet renting.
you mean like Go Figure, that YouTube channel?
I think
Oh,
they're
wow, yeah.
really good.
Really
Maybe
cool,
like,
yeah. You should like check them out. Like,
yeah.
I hear they're really cool. Yeah. No. Get involved. Get to know people
Yeah.
at MFC. Follow YouTube channels, like for real. Like,
It's really fun because you get to know all those people that do the same thing as you, and it's so hard to find people like that just around you, right?
yeah.
So
like it's a very specific hobby because you know, like you hear a lot of people that are like, I like anime, but it's like, yeah, but do you even collect figures, bro? Like, no. Yeah, like their community is out there, and they're really cool people. And yeah, get
and
involved. Be
also if
social.
you want to get involved, just create an MFC account, as I said.
And talk to
Friend
us, we're
requests
right
and
here.
Everything's on that website.
So that has been Figure Collecting 101. We are now taking questions. And also, if you think of anything you want to say or anything you want to ask after today, you're more than welcome to contact us on any of our social media. We'll get back to you. We love talking to fellow figure collectors. Yep.
Yay.
Thank you.
When you go to